All right. Hi, Internet. I'm UD Reviews. Welcome to my little review channel. I just watched Bodies, and I want to get into it. And I felt like the best way to kind of talk about it, I think, might be a tier system of the characters in the movie. But before I get into that, I want to do a little housekeeping. Here's my friend, Miss Kimmy Wexler. So, if you're subscribed to this channel, you are probably used to just Better Call Saul content. That show is over, but one, I did record an ending explained reaction video, which I did not upload because I just kind of felt like this show's over. I don't know. But if I should upload it, let me know in the comments. Two, I had mentioned in previous videos that I would be doing a post finale with Courtney's reviews. I don't know if that collab is going to happen. I know with her line of work, this time of year tends to be busy. So who knows? If it does happen, I really hope it does, and I'll let y'all know. But who knows? But number three, what's therapy? Another friend that we met through the Better Call Saul community, he is still talking about Better Call Saul. And I think he likes to do random chats, which I will. He just sent me a message. Okay, yeah, he likes to do pop-up chats about Better Call Saul. So I will be hanging out with him. And he's also someone who's seen Better Call Saul, but he has not yet watched Breaking Bad. So I'm so excited for him to start watching Breaking Bad, and we can talk about Breaking Bad together and do collabs that way. So I just had to get the Better Call Saul stuff out of the way because it's kind of jarring. Like, it's literally everything on my page is anything related to the Gilliverse or whatever they call it. But uh, yeah, the show's over, and if I feel the inspiration or somebody wants to collab, we're gonna keep talking about it. But for now, I want to talk about other things that make me excited. One of which is this movie. If you have not yet seen this movie, this is going to be full of spoilers. Super, super, super spoilers. But if you are into the whodunit genre, and you like Gen Z satire commentary, then you've got to check out this movie. I would say if you watch Not Okay and you enjoyed that movie and you enjoyed the message of that movie, you're going to have a fun time with Bodies. So for y'all who haven't seen it, peace out. Make sure you subscribe. Please, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, which, by the way, when we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will do an Amazon gift card giveaway. Back when we hit 100, I gave my gift card away to Gary20. So if you want to win a nice little gift card, just make sure you subscribe and you'll be in that raffle. Okay, so how should we start this? I okay. I actually want to, before we do the tier list, because I feel like, yeah, if we do this tier list of these characters, then I can start really talking about how I feel about each one and what I think they represent, what the things, the words that they say, how they say it, the things that they do, what I think it means. But I feel like we need a taster, right? So I found this one YouTuber. What is your name? Slasher in Suits. And he did on a live count, which I actually love videos like this that count the unalivements in a show or movie. So I feel like this is going to be a good refresher because the movie is not streaming yet. So you can't purchase it on Amazon Prime or whatever. I don't think you'll be able to until next month. So this is the best I can get in a review. Mind you, if you just want to get to the tier list or whatever, I have timestamps. I will have timestamps. Promise you. I will put timestamps so that you can jump to any part of the video that you want to get to. But I want to thank Slasher in Suits.
So, how many people die in bodies? All right, let's get into it. It's a murder mystery, who done it, but don't think of Scream. Think more of like Clue. Clue with Gen Zers, lesbians, and all them doing cocaine. And there is some
You know
kills.
what's interesting? So everyone keeps saying this is think of it like Clue. And that's not what came in my mind. What came in my mind is think of it as Among Us in real life. So I don't know. Does that mean my brain is more of a fit for the movie? Because Clue is pretty old, and you'd have to be that old or into the horror genre to feel like you instantly know what that is. I just think
And
that's
everything. Like
interesting.
this girl gets thrown off a balcony and somebody gets hit in the head with a kettlebell. Let's get into the first kill with David, played by Pete Davidson. Everybody, I don't know, man. I talk to a lot of girls and everything that already don't like Pete Davidson. So it makes sense.
That's interesting that he knows a lot of women. I'm assuming they're you know what's interesting to me? Speaking of words, this movie is very much like makes you think of words. What do words actually mean? And that's just one little thing that I think about. Like for the past year, I've been thinking about how we refer to when we mean women, but we say girls. What does that mean? But anyway, I digress. I think that's interesting that he knows a lot of women who find Pete Davidson to be unlikable. Um, I I didn't know that. I thought everybody kind of really likes Pete Davidson, and I've heard other critics talk about how Pete Davidson was chosen for this role in part because he is kind of the it guy a little bit, because of who he's been dating for the past couple of years. I think for the past couple of years, he's been dating A-list women. And if you're not into the gossips, you may not know Kanye is at it again. Look, we know Kanye has his mental health struggles, but man, this guy, he can't stop. So I feel like Pete Davidson is so like the casting of this movie is was very greatly considered. That Pete Davidson is somebody who like this generation and social media and mental health and like all of those kind of buzzwords that are related to this movie, he kind of embodies it as we know him in the public light. So I thought for all those reasons, and also he's a comedian, so he can provide comedic timing in his lines. I thought that for those reasons, he was thought to be the perfect cast for David.
Cast him in this because he's already an unlikable guy, so it plays. They start off the night playing bodies, 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 which is like a version of Clue. Like you have to guess who the killer out of the crowd is and everything. So when Pete actually turns up dead first, you're like, holy shit, is this like part of the game or what the hell's going on? The girl.
I just realized that comment I made about Kanye West. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about. Just for reference, Pete Davidson was dating Kim Kardashian, whose ex-husband is Kanye West. So I don't know. Hopefully that puts it together. And literally, if you just Google that, you'll get a plethora of articles describing parts of the gossip. I don't know if there's an article yet that has been able to summarize the drama in completion, but you'll get a gist.
Girls find the murder weapon and oh, it's that sword that motherfucker was using at the beginning to open the champagne bottle. He done did it. So all the girls confront him like, hey man, Pete Davidson's dead. He's like, nah man, get out of here. He's playing that old Shelly shit from.
So at that point, let's talk about the first two unalives. So when they find David, this at that point I knew these kids are dumb. They're dumb. And they're also heavily under the influence. And this is also a horror movie. Put all of that together, it's going to be dumbness, okay? Because I'm thinking, bring him the hell inside. Bring him inside, wrap up his neck, commence CPR, like put pressure on his neck. Someone else commence CPR. The rest of y'all go to the car, try to get reception, do something. Like we're not going to just watch helplessly. But this is this is a horror movie of intoxicated young people who even before the substances were involved, we get the impression that they're not really all there. They are too, like their priorities are not actually all straight. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that because we see that from the very beginning of the movie, the opening scene of the movie where the two young ladies are making out and one of them says, I love you. If you like, I have not rewatched this movie. I'm just telling you, when you rewatch the movie, you will see that scene completely different. That scene will mean something completely different to you when you do your rewatch. So once they left the dude there, I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's go in for the ride. And he is the first one to go. He was not a likable character. They did a good job making him like the most unlikable up to that point because he was just so mean. When I do my tier list, we're going to talk about it. So, but when they go in to get Greg, I was like, okay, ladies, we all need to calm the F down. It actually made me kind of sad. Though, it's kind of creepy. This old guy is just hanging out with these young people. is creepy, but the way he was filmed up to that point, you feel like it's creepy, but it seems like he's just there to have a good time with her. You know, his I don't remember the character's name, and that young character is there to just have a good time with him. So that's kind of the vibe we got, and he seemed to be he seemed to react to things the way you would expect someone of his age to react. So, like, you didn't get creepy vibes. You didn't see his eyes looking in weird places. So I feel like they did a good job making you feel. We'll talk about it later when we do our tier list.
Friday the 13th Part 3, he ain't dead. So, in combination with this girl not really dating that guy too long, they're like, wait, man, we all don't know you. We're all scared. You're a guy. Boom! Hit him on the side of the head with a kettlebell. All right, all in a day's work, right? We got the killer, and let's just write out this hurricane, but oh my god, we found another body. Who the hell killed her now, man? We killed Greg. We don't know who killed her. She's at the bottom of the stairs, and now we have a gun in play and everything. So it's like there's a gun in play. And
all right, so if you watch the movie, you know that the braids chick gave Emma, I remember her name is Emma, braids, which, by the way, I love her braids. I'll talk about her braids again later. Braids chick gives Emma some substances. I assume she OD'd and fell. That's what I assume. I just don't understand, why is there so much blood? I didn't understand that.
Argument, a scuffle happens with the gun.
I mean, I don't know. I guess if she fell from pretty high, it makes me think of that. What's that one unfortunate case? Oh, there's a Netflix thing about it, and there's gonna be a new miniseries. I can't wait because it has Colette. I don't remember her full name. Colette. She's like so good when she plays in horror movies. I forget her name. Colette something. She's amazing. I cannot wait to watch her. Okay, the Michael Peterson trial. Okay, it reminds me of that. It's kind of like he was trying to say, well, she just fell down the stairs, and it's like, well, that's a lot of blood for just falling down the stairs. I don't know about that. So, I'm still a little bit confused, but like, I don't know what else to think. So we'll talk about it later.
And then, boom, this girl gets shot.
That was unfortunate. That was so accidental.
Blatant as like Amber shouldn't live and scream, but she did have the gun and did shoot her. Oh wait, no, she shot her twice. Oh, that's right. She's so yayed up. She was like, "Hey, I didn't even feel it."
Did you fucking shoot me? I can't believe you're making this about you.
Damn, the yayo's good when you can't.
I feel like everyone did such a good job with the acting because it is hard to just imagine being an actor in this film. It is hard to take the script seriously. I'm sure everyone's busting out laughing all the time, and they had to do takes because they're saying things that are like, That's not what you need to be saying in this moment. Like, this is an inappropriate time to be discussing this or saying that or to even be thinking about that. But it's us, like the way they did the script. They did the script as if like these people were not living in the moment. They wrote it as the way people would respond. Like if people watch this, spectating this, and then everyone got on Twitter with their thoughts. This is the way people on Twitter would talk amongst each other, not in the actual moment. So it feels so comedic to see that these people are in the actual life and death moment and they're still in Twitter brain.
Even feel a gunshot, but right, there was a dog pile, craziness happened, and she eventually got shot. Then B tries to wrestle her and everything. I don't know, don't wrestle anybody with a gun, but she did get.
Okay, yo, again, it's a horror movie, so they got a little bit extra courage that in reality you wouldn't really want to risk it. I'm just saying, chick's a little unhinged. Waving that thing around like, I don't know, I'm not OG like that.
Not me. Of her and threw her from the second floor.
Not me, because you want to know something? If it was me, once I seen them off that dude, the Greg dude, I'm going back to that car. I'm just gonna hang out in that car. I'm gonna just hang out in this vehicle and take a nap. That's what I would do in this situation. Get me out of here.
Way down to the bottom. It's one of those big, long staircases, too, so that's a big, long drop. Like, that drop seemed like it hurt and broke a bunch of shit, too. Like, oh, man, right. I don't know. She didn't even die right away, too. Like, man, that yayo must have just, like, helped you survive a little bit longer.
And what's funny is her last words were, check the text messages. You know what I mean? It continuing the theme of priorities. Her last words are check the text messaging. It's like, it reminds me of like when people so again, my view of this is these are Twitter people, but your usernames and avatars are like actually living this. And it's like when like somebody's just too like putting way too much energy into like a fight or a discourse on the Twitter, going back and forth, and it's like it's really not that important right now. Like don't you have a job to do? Don't you like you go to school? Like, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But in this movie. And so I found that to be comical. At the time, I didn't realize those would be her last words. So when I saw that the girl was gone, I was like, oof.
Well, if you didn't do enough, man, she would have popped right back up like Tony Montana. These two are the final two left. They both don't trust each other. They both think each of them are the killer. And she's actually like, give me your phone. Let me see your text exactly. But then they have the bright idea of actually checking Pete Davidson's phone and boom.
So the fact that, look, like, there's I don't know if it's a meme, but it's this understood thing that if somebody is working that hard to make sure you don't see their phone, they cheating on you. They are cheating, like, period. And the meme kind of goes further in depth, but well, I'll just say it. So the meme is kind of like, it's about guys. If a guy is like throwing his phone in the water, whatever, it's more than just him cheating. He's cheating on you with other men. That's kind of like that situation of by any means possible, you're not going to see that phone. That's kind of what the internet says that to mean. It's interesting though that scenario being placed over like an actual queer lesbian couple, it means kind of the same thing, but I just found that interesting just because I know what that means online. And a lot of what happens in this movie, if you are somebody who is like aware of what what social cues and stuff are like online, you see that it's reflecting what you see on the screen.
He's all, oh man, that's so cool. That's gotta be a TikTok.
Oh my god.
That big goof accidentally killed himself. What a...
Right, and that's the other thing I thought, like, so when he's like hitting against the window trying to get his friend's attention to save him, unfortunately, dude, you have friends as not all there as you are, unfortunately. But that was my first instinct, that there's somebody outside who's like Matt, like this Max character that we'll talk about at the end, like this Max character. When I need to actually, this is the kind of movie I need to rewatch. I was thinking this either, first I'm thinking he did it to himself. He was doing something stupid and hurt himself. That's initially what I thought. And what is the term for the girl who survives? Is it called The Last Girl? The girl who survives horror movies. It's called something. What's that trope called? The final girl. Which, another thing that I found interesting about this movie is they did not, it seemed like they tried to avoid as many tropes as possible. They tried to avoid the predictable trope. Well, of course, it's still a whodunit, so they still follow that trope. But in terms of the characters and like what happens, they didn't fall into that. So I was thinking that B chick, I was thinking she's going to be the final girl. But there ends up being two final girls, which is actually not usually the case when it comes to a whodunit. So I found that interesting, but what was I trying to say? What was I saying? I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, B is the one, please correct me if I'm wrong, but B is the one who she assumed that David hurt himself. She assumed that he was playing out in the hurricane and he hurt himself. And she was like, why? Why did he go out into the hurricane? What was he doing outside? That is what my thoughts were exactly. And then they start getting paranoid and I fall into the paranoia and I'm thinking it's probably this Max guy that y'all are talking about. The Max guy who drove all of y'all here and then just literally left y'all, ditched y'all with no vehicle. Like, if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be this Max guy that we haven't seen. But it was just him alone.
The big twist is there is no killer. There are just a bunch of idiots. Maybe that's a little bit too harsh. Like, maybe just the paranoia got the best of them and everything.
So I heard that when they were initially writing this film, they wanted there to be an actual person who did it. And then as they were working it, they realized it makes so much more sense. And it drives their message home so much better. And everything just clicks so much better if David was just stupid.
Sort of like The Thing. I mean, you're doing a bunch of cocaine, you're playing this murder mystery game. Something's got to give. Actually, Greg is the only one who was actually murdered, right? Murdered by B. But they thought it was self-defense. Like, we only murdered him because we thought he killed Pete Davidson. I think you could consider B the actual killer in this whole thing. Even though she thought it was self-defense, man, you're still going to get locked up for manslaughter. You know what? B actually threw that girl over the balcony, too. So she's got 2 murders on her hands. But I don't know if I'm her. I'm not telling the police about that.
That one's definitely self-defense. I mean, she could argue self-defense for all of it.
I'm going to blame it all on her because they have physical evidence if you shot a gun. I don't know. They go underneath your fingernails and find like gunpowder or something like that.
That would be sad. But they are kind of the people. They're the kind of humans that you wouldn't put that past, right? Like posthumously ruining somebody's reputation. And the chick with the podcast.
She's the only physical evidence and everything, so she did the whole thing. Oh, the police, thank goodness you're here. She must have went crazy and killed everybody.
Everyone else has to avoid being killed. What is that? Xanax, you want one? Yeah.
Emma had no chill, man. Right there, man, popping Xanax, cocaine, all this stuff. And actually, Sophie was the one to actually cop to, hey, I even gave her some drugs yesterday. And I think Emma's death is going to be ruled an overdose, right? Because she wasn't even
Right.
murdered. She sort of like got too much drugs and then fell down the stairs. So it could be like an accidental death. I don't want that death pit on me neither. So Sophie girl, you better burn that phone and get rid of that SIM card. Don't let the police check your texts. So B and Sophie, last two girls standing. I don't know after a night like that with these murder cases looming. I'm already Eastern European.
She
Bye
should be
everybody.
leaving the
Sophie, you can
country.
come if you want.
Okay. So thank you so much, Slasher in Suit. So we got a nice little summary rundown of the film. Another thing that I think is really interesting to note in this film that um when B enters the house, there's a whole bunch of flashlights and batteries. And I'm thinking, well, of course they're going to use it. They're going to use this. Like, because I've seen a little bit of the trailer. I have actually, before I saw this, I didn't see a full trailer. I just saw, like, you could tell it's going to be dark. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is great foreshadowing. They're going to use these flashlights. They never used a single flashlight. They did not use they didn't use any of those flashlights. They were only using their phone. And then that one chick, what's her name? Hold on. Let's remember these characters' names. Jordan. Jordan uses dude's headlight. But other than that, they're all using their flashlights on their phone. And I'm like, that's so smart. Y'all did, like, the people who made this movie, I think they did a fantastic job clearly identifying the commentary that they're kind of making fun of without, maybe some people would feel it's over the top, but I feel like because we've all seen Not Okay, right? If you haven't seen Not Okay, you need to see it. We've all seen Not Okay. So we are now expectant. I feel like as movie lovers, we understand this, I guess, cinematic language, I suppose. So at this point, I think Bodies came out at the perfect time to come out after Not Okay, so that people are now familiar with the cinematic language and they get it rather than feeling too over the top with it. And who knows, maybe there's some people who like they didn't get it, or it was too much for them, which I could see that. But other than that, I think the filmmakers did a fantastic job really identifying certain things that they wanted to talk about. So, okay, these characters. Let's talk about these characters. Okay. So this lady here, this is my first time doing a tier list, so I hope I'm doing it right. So this character, her name is, what is your name again? Alice. So this is Alice. She's a comedic relief character, and I don't know much about the actress, but apparently the actress is a comedian herself, or like improv comedy or something like that. I don't know. I found her to be very funny. Her character is supposed to be kind of like the vapid, annoying, dunce type of character. And this is the kind of character that you either find like annoying in an endearing way and you find her funny, or you find her just kind of annoying and you don't expect much from her. I I actually loved her. I love that. So here's the thing about this character to me. I think I'll give her an A. This character to me is a great juxtaposition to people like the people who think they're very smart. So another thing that you see all the time online is people trying to one up their smartness. I'm smarter than you. I know more than you. I'm more socially aware than you. I'm more historically aware than you. I'm more trauma informed than you. I know more big words. I'm more educated. I'm this. There's so much of that online, and it is kind of refreshing to see someone who actually is just like as basic as can be. They're not trying to one you up intellectually. They're just like here experiencing life, and they just say whatever way the wind blows, it's on their mind. So with this character, she is the one who is dating Greg. When we first see Greg. I'm just like, what is this dude doing here? What are you doing here? And then as I see their interaction more, I'm just, how I met him off Tinder, according to David. I'm just assuming, okay, they're hooking up, and this guy is just thinking, why not have some fun, keep hooking up with her, whatever kind of thing. But it also did make me feel like, what are you doing, Alice? Like, it also makes me kind of feel like that. Like, what are you doing? So at first her character just seems like the vapid person who's only care about having a good time. But as we go on into the movie, you see that even though she is the way she is, she does care about things. She really cared about this guy. She wanted to call him boyfriend. I mean, I'm not saying that's like a big deal. I'm just saying that's a little sign. But then she talks about her podcast and how much it means to her. And the way she delivers her lines, of course, like, it sounds so silly, the importance that she put on that podcast. But like, it's actually true. It's the fact that she has something that she cares about, that she puts effort into, that she takes meticulous time to create. Like, it shows you that it feels like she is actually a person and not just some kind of blow up doll, whatever. So anyway, I actually liked her character. Obviously, she's not the kind of character that you would ask to make decisions. She wavers so back and forth. She's very flip-floppy like this. Not somebody you would ask to make big decisions. But when it comes to being friends with somebody like this, and we even sense a little bit of insecurity, right? In the beginning of the film, when they all meet up at the pool, and there was some moment where a few of them were kind of talking, she comes up and she's like, why did it get quiet all of a sudden? Were you guys talking about me? So that tells me that she kind of knows. She's kind of that person in the friend group who she is so optimistic and just living in the moment that she probably doesn't think about it too much or let it get to her. But something in her knows that, I don't know if these people actually care about me or like me, but for the time, I'm having a good time. So that's all that matters. So anyway, she's the kind of person I personally would love to have a friend like that who's down to have fun at any time. So I give her an A. So since we're on Alice, I want to talk about Greg. So Greg, whoa, gosh, here's another thing about that lets you know that this friend group actually they don't like Alice. Aside from, what is this character's name? Okay, aside from Sophie calling out Jordan, and admitting that, Jordan hates you. Jordan hates Alice. Like, she does not like her. I get the vibe that, Sophie, you don't like her either. You don't like her either, Sophie, and probably nobody in this friend group likes Alice. And we know this because they weren't listening to her. When she introduced her guy friend, Greg, they thought that she said he was a veteran, when she said he's a veterinarian. So, like, that right there lets you know these people don't care about you. They don't care at all. Because here's another thing. Here's another way to know that the friend group didn't actually care about Alice. So low-key redemption for Alice. But the fact that, okay, these people kind of give me young 20s, early 20s vibes. When your friend that is a little airheady brings a significantly older man, you're not concerned. You don't look into him. You don't. Y'all don't care about your friend. No, you really don't. You don't care about your friend because 100%, like, in real life with good friends, when somebody is dating like a significantly older person, this is a red flag. Like, we're going to figure out what's going on. Well, what's his story? What's his deal? They only ask her about him when they think he's the unaliver. That's just, something to think about. So when it comes to Greg, I don't know. We still don't know much about him. I mean, he seems like the kind of, he's, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's like goopified. When I say goopified, I'm talking like the whole Gwyneth Paltrow, like rich hippie thing. Very much, remember the show You? Is it fourth season? Is there 4 seasons? Okay, yeah. No. Okay, it's 3rd season. Is it You third season? Okay. So who's that character? Okay, this guy. Okay, this couple. I would say this couple. If you haven't seen the show You, you've got to see that show. Okay, if you're watching this video, you're watching Bodies, 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 you absolutely are going to love You. It's on Netflix. So this couple are very goopified. And Greg may or may not be to that extent, but he is interested in that kind of hippy-dippy stuff. And like, I don't know the term, not just the hippy-dippy stuff, but also like preparedness. Like, he's probably a prepper, those doomsday preppers, like, you got to know somebody like that in your life, the kind of person that if there was a zombie apocalypse, you're going to that person, you're going to their house, that they got the MREs, they got clean water, they know the tactics, they know how to hunt, they know all this stuff. So Greg is that kind of guy. Greg is the kind of man that if I met him in real life, I would find him very interesting, because all of those things that he's into, I am vaguely intrigued by it. And I would love to have a conversation with him and learn from him. Seems like a cool dude. We don't get to know him because you're a friggin' 40-something-year-old dude. I'm assuming he's 40. He looks like he's in his 40s to me. You're this older guy hanging out with these babies. And I call them babies because when you get to his age, that's how it feels. Let me tell you, when I went to grad school, I was older than, I was still in my 20s, but I was older than everyone else. So everybody else there was 20, 21, maybe 22. And I was still older than that. I was just maybe 2 or 3, I don't know, or so years older than them. And I felt like I'm surrounded by children. I didn't want to do that. And I specifically went to grad school because I didn't want to get another bachelor's degree because I didn't want to be surrounded by 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds. I thought that was bad. And 20-year-olds. I thought that was going to be horrible. And then I go to grad school and they're just 20, 21. And it's just as bad. It's just as bad. You don't feel comfortable. Okay. And you just don't feel comfortable. There's things that you're doing and talking about that you're not so interested in at that age. And sometimes, and even when you hear their drama, like obviously part of what made the first act of this movie so intriguing was trying to figure out their social dynamics. Why is he acting that way towards her? And why is she acting that way towards her? And like trying to figure out what is going on here between y'all interpersonally, like intersocially. And this Greg guy is kind of like us coming in like, I am just here because I like to screw Alice and she invited me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Or you hear some of the drama and you're just like, y'all, that's really stupid. Like, let's just have a good time. Like, this is a dumb thing to be hung up on. So we didn't get to know Greg. And, Greg, I don't know. That's what you get. I don't know. It makes me feel like I might get hate comments for saying this, but that whole Johnny Depp situation, not that I ever condone DV in any way. Even if it's mutually enacted upon, like y'all were basically you were DVing each other. And obviously I don't condone any kind of physical DV that happened to Johnny, but there's something in me that's like, you gotta date people your own age. You gotta date people your own age. It's like, it's not just, it like, I don't know. It's kind of like a safety precaution when you date people your own age, That's just kind of the conclusion I'm drawing after I hear all these different stories. I don't know. I'm going to give Greg a C. Sorry, Greg. All right, so let's get into David, because David was so threatened by Greg. Very weird. I found it weird. I couldn't comprehend. I felt like, why are you threatened by this old guy? Like, you are a young guy. You already have your girlfriend, which we'll talk about that in a second. You already have a girlfriend, and you're young, and you're like kind of the kingpin of this friend group. Like, everyone's at your parents' mansion. Why are you threatened by him? Like, and also I seriously want to know, because, okay, a lot of times, like in real life, when a young woman is dating an older man, part of that is she's wanting to be with somebody who's financially established. You're a trust fund baby. You probably have more money than Greg. What is there to be threatened by? Okay. Like, look, I'm a grown woman. I will say Greg is more attractive than David, right? I'm also putting into consideration that the character is, I'm assuming, like early 20s, okay? And I just, I don't know. I don't, like, right off the bat, that counts against him for me. But everyone else is your age mate, so they're not going to count that against you. And even though Greg, I think, yeah, he's attractive. Even though he's attractive, he's still old. Like, I don't know. It's in my head, like, when somebody is so much older than you, you're not thinking of them the same way. When somebody is like outside of your age range, unless they're just obviously attractive. Like, to me, Idris Elba has been attractive to me my whole life. Okay? I've just always found him striking. It doesn't matter that he's so old. I just always found him striking. And, not to mention the part he's a movie star, which helped. But like in real life, you don't have that same frame of mind. So I heard that the creators of this film did want to touch on toxic masculinity. And they did that. They didn't harp on it too much. I mean, how can you? It's just two dudes. The whole time. And then, like, they're the first ones to be unalived. Like, there's not much time to harp on it. So I feel like that's a theme that might go under the radar for people watching this film, because I did not. I mean, I saw the way David was acting and that he was feeling threatened, but it didn't connect to me that it's toxic masculinity. And that also the ending of the film, the fact that it's David who sliced his own neck because he was trying to mimic the move that Greg was doing. That's a part of the toxic masculinity. Basically, the moral of the story is toxic masculinity hurts you. Like, the dude engaging in that behavior, it hurts him in the end, literally. So, okay, I think that was interesting. This character is not cool. Okay, you could see in the very beginning he had so much disdain for his girlfriend. And that's another way that this friend group, you're not good friends. You don't see that kind of body. Like, he didn't do anything but at first, right? He was just like trying to pull him up the pool, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, what do you want?" He's just always acting annoyed by her. And if you see your friend's boyfriend is just always seems annoyed by your friend's presence, you're going to talk to her. Like, she may not listen. She may be like, "Well, I love him." She may not listen, but you're still going to bring it to her attention. Like, I find it odd. Like, I don't. And you might even tell him. I would look. I don't know. Maybe I'm confrontational, but I would tell him I don't appreciate you treating my friend this way. That's not how you're supposed to treat your girlfriend. But anyway, he was really mean the whole time, and he was very targetedly mean to his girlfriend specifically. So it made me feel like, is there something going on here? Did she cheat on him? Like, what's going on here? And we find that she didn't cheat on him. She's just kind of a needy person, maybe something like that. But he was so mean. And I found this one scene interesting. Let me see if I have it. Okay, this scene I found interesting.
It's like your mom would be like, "Oh, he's hot." Not your mom. I mean, moms in general.
Okay, so
Moms
this scene where he is like, he's like, okay, I keep wanting to call her name, not her character's name. The character is Sophie. He was like, Sophie, we need to talk in private. And so I'm expecting just pull her to the side or, go to a little corner or something. He brings her into like his father's office and he's sitting in the big man's chair. Like he runs this. And I'm just thinking, dude, you are not big man. This is your parents' home. This is your father's room. This is not you are not Mr. Mafia boss. I just found it interesting. And what's even more interesting is in this scene, Sophie is asking him, she's not asking him for money, but she's asking him to talk to her parents so that she can get money. So it really gives he feels like he's the leader. He's in charge. He has influence. He's supposed to be big dog. Everyone's supposed to respect his rule. And yeah, I mean, he does feel threatened because he feels like people are not respecting his rules. And he felt like Greg's not respecting his rules, not respecting you guys who are in my house. I get that, but he was just way too threatened. There is more to it than simply y'all are messing up my parents' house. So we're going to give him D tier, obviously. I mean, that's what his character was created for, to be disliked. So, okay, I guess we'll talk about this guy, Max. So this is another reason why I need to rewatch the film because for most of the film, I was confused about who is Max? Who is this Max guy? Then he shows up at the end. I'm like, okay. First of all, the actor, I don't know who he is, but I've heard that he was a Viner, which if you don't know what that is, Vine was TikTok before there was TikTok. Before TikTok was Musical.ly. Hold up. I don't want to confuse some of you. So first there was Vine, then there was Musical.ly, then there's TikTok, which we use today. Vine was only 6 seconds. 6-second videos. Yes, there are people with entertainment careers. They are rich, they are famous because they made 6-second videos. The best example that I can think of off the top of my head is Bo Burnham, which I think he had something going for him before Vine, but Vine really just took him off. If you don't know him, he's the one who did the well, look who's inside again. He did that comedy special on Netflix about basically the depression he got from having to be inside during 2020. And he's also in this movie, that Promising Young Woman, which I had to give that a chance. The first 15 minutes were so boring to me. I was so bored and I stopped watching it, but I just kept hearing all these great reviews. So I stuck it out and I'm glad I did. By the end of this movie, Promising Young Woman, I'm like, that was worth it. That was a good payoff. And I don't know, if y'all want me to talk about it, I'll talk about it. But he was in this one. I think he made this 8th grade one, which I didn't watch. I just heard he did a fantastic job really making you feel like you are in 8th grade again. Really, it felt very realistic. That's what I heard. So obviously this guy's a very talented man. He's very talented and good job. And Vine really helped him take off. Okay. So I think you get Vine. Okay. So apparently this dude is from Vine. I don't know. So that is another casting decision, but I don't know too much about him. I'm going to give him a D. Why am I going to give him D tier? You know, maybe I'll give him a C tier. I'll give him a C. Because you left these people. Now, I don't know much. Okay, I'm trying to remember what I've heard about Max. What I know is that he drove them there and he left them. Why did he leave? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know if they said. I don't know. He left them. I just think that is, I don't know. Maybe it was a circumstance. Maybe he was like, oh, guys, let me go pick up some stuff. I'll be right back. And then the hurricane comes. But they all came because they knew a hurricane was coming. So that's not what it was. No, he was like, I'm going to drop y'all off here in this middle of nowhere mansion. And I'm going to go to a hotel for the hurricane. That's really what he said. Like, you left them alone with no vehicle when a hurricane is coming through. I just think that is so irresponsible. And he seems to be, he seemed to be like older. Like, I don't know if he's somebody's older brother or something. He seemed like a few years older than them. I'm just like, why would you do that? Why would you leave them? Why would you leave? Why would you leave them? Now, maybe he thought, well, this is a responsible thing because they're all going to be intoxicated under the influence and I don't want to risk anybody driving. You know, that's a possibility. I don't know. That's a possibility. That's possible. That's possible. So I don't know. I don't know the situation. But then also, this is why you still stay in the seat. Apparently, he confessed that he was in love with Emma. Okay, here's another great thing that this film did. This drama, this love triangle, this drama stuff, this is what makes the Twitter. Everybody commentating and sharing their thoughts on other people's relationships. And I heard this and this and that. And so is dating who. And they're sleeping with them. All of this gossip. This is what Twitter is full of. This is what the actor, Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson is the topic of freaking love triangle, gossip, chisme, blah, blah, blah. So he said that he's in love with Bean. That's just highly inappropriate. Really, we're gonna spend. So maybe that's why he left them. But really, y'all are gonna have a sleepover, and you're going to confess, like the dude that everyone is sleeping over at's house. You're going to say you're in love with his girlfriend. Weird. It doesn't matter that you're even if you're like, well, he doesn't love her. He doesn't even love her. Dude, not the right time and place. These people are all inappropriate. These people say the wrong things at the wrong time. They're not thinking fully. Okay. Let's move on to Bree. Since we talking about you, girl. We talking about you. So she is very I guess like the desperate type of lover. And somebody made this great point. So she says she loves, it's some kind of play. Like she was in some kind of play. I think it's called Hen Stadler. Let's see if I can Google it. Hen. Okay, a play. Hen Stander? Is that what it is? I don't remember. But it's some play, and when you look up the play, it's about this woman who she's dating a man and she doesn't really find him interesting when she starts dating him, but she doesn't know what else to do with her life, so she marries him, and her life is like super boring and dull, and it's just nothing life. And so she kind of is that. She is that. Why are you with this guy? You know, he doesn't like you. He treats you like crap. He doesn't respect you. And look, she said She used the term, oh, you're going to gaslight me. She said that term, which is an overused term. It is. It's overused. He says narcissist is overused. Like this character is kind of saying what the audience is thinking. You're just saying words that you don't know what they mean. These words don't mean anything anymore. And like, yeah, like it's true. And this, a lot of people in this friend group, they're using these words that, like, again, with the intellectualism, right? People online started using these words because, like, the most intelligent thing to do is use words that best describe what you're talking about. So if the best word is gaslight, and rather than say emotionally abuse, even that he could, rather than say this person is lying to her, you can use the term gaslight, meaning this person is lying to her in order to make her doubt her own rationality and sanity. That's what gaslighting means. But people overuse it to the point that that meaning is kind of wishy-washed. It doesn't really mean that anymore. Like when somebody says that, you can't trust that they're actually using the word in the correct definition. So this Gen Z and all these Twitter talks, in an effort to be more intellectual, they bring about these words into the lexicon that once it gets down to people like Alice, it doesn't really mean anything anymore. So now, rather than being a more accurate term to describe a situation, you're just saying something. You're just saying what you heard. You're not really thinking for yourself, which is what this David says about Emma. She doesn't have an original thought in her brain. Maybe that's true, but that's really rude to say. You don't need to say that. Like right there in front of her face, in front of everyone, you are trying to humiliate her, which is not fun. That's not fair. So, in that regards, I felt bad for her, but also it's like, well, the dude wasn't lying. The dude wasn't lying. He was informing the audience of what her character was like because, look, in this situation where your boyfriend or your best friend is dead, mostly because y'all, like, were too doped up to think rationally and, try to keep him alive and do whatever it took to get help. So she says something where Sophie is yelling at her and she says, I can't believe you're making this about yourself right now, which is another phrase that, like, that's another phrase that's kind of overused. You're making this about yourself. It's kind of like, yes, yes, this is a okay time for everyone to make it about themselves because there is somebody unaliving in this house. Like, yes, this is the time. If you're going to be making something about yourself, this situation is the time. It's actually okay. Like, this is not an appropriate time to debate this or bring this up or try to make somebody feel guilty for that or try to make somebody think rationally to have a more empathetic discourse with you. Like, this is not the time, right? They're saying things that can mean something, but at this time it's not appropriate and it doesn't mean anything at this time. So Bree does do that. She does do that, and she is somebody who she needs, like, I'm assuming she's attached to the David guy because she doesn't like to be alone. She needs so much like reassurance. She does. And she, at some point, she goes up to her room and they find her and she's on her phone. Like, she's probably playing some game on her phone. And I think that's such a great Like, that's so relatable, right? Like, these days, when you're feeling bad, what do you do? I know what I do, okay? When I'm feeling bad, I have this whole thing of games. And I have this one game in particular that I always play, Tower Wars. And I just mindlessly play this game. I don't need Wi-Fi or reception to play this game. I just mindlessly play this game when I'm feeling bad. And that's kind of how I cope. And that's how she was coping. Just curled up in fetal position under the blankets playing on her phone. Whatever game she can get without connection. And I just found that so, like, I don't know, again, this theme of the generation that we're in, how this generation interacts with each other and their devices. I find it interesting. I give this character a B. She really is just kind of blasé, which is interesting because I feel like Alice is supposed to be the blasé one, but she's so funny that she's not. But I feel like if Bree was actually humorous, I think she would have more fans. I might be a fan of her. Okay, we're getting down to the juicy. Okay, because these were the last 3 standing. Okay, let's talk about Jordan. Jordan was weird AF ever since Bree came into the house. She was weird. And I'm trying to figure out, why are you weird? Why are you like that? What are you doing? What does this mean? As I get sucked into their paranoia, I'm thinking, are you the one? Are you the one? Hold on. I got to close the door because he's... Okay. Yeah, I was like, I'm really suspicious of you now. Now, she seems to be a paranoid person in general, which is that's another way you know that she didn't care about Alice. Like, none of these friends care about Alice because you're a paranoid person. You didn't research this guy, right? You took the time to research Bree. Like, how you did that while y'all were dancing around and snorting and stuff, I don't know. How did you find out same day that Bree didn't graduate from her school, but you didn't look nothing about this man? Like, of all people to be, like, suspicious, you didn't look up that. Okay, it could have been that she knew before. So maybe she looked it up before they arrived there. But same thing, you didn't look up anything about this man. You didn't look up anything about him. You thought he was in the freaking military. You know what I mean? This person, Jordan, you're not a good person. Well, are any of them? Like, they're different levels of not good person, which, by the way, nobody's a perfect person, but when I say not good person, I mean, like, you're not a good friend. That's what I'm more specifically referring to, the friendship. You're not a good friend whatsoever. You're not. You are... I just get the feeling that she is very self-serving, which, is that really saying anything? Because all of them are self-serving. All of them. Like, maybe the least self-serving one might be Alice. I'm about to move her to superior. She might be the least, and I might just be underestimating her because of how vapid her character is. I might be underestimating her. So this Jordan character left me so suspicious throughout the whole film because she was suspicious of others in the film. Interesting how that works. When I first saw her character, she didn't appear to be in a good mood. When she saw Sophie, I don't know, the look on her face, I didn't know what any of that meant. I would love to, again, I gotta rewatch this film because now I have context. She's in love with Sophie. She doesn't like Bree, and she still wants Sophie. Okay. So that's what she's like. And then at the end, well, yeah, she's unhinged. She goes and gets that weapon, which pushes the story along, right? Because if these were all just normal people, the three of them would just huddle together and like wait to get reception. But, you know, something's got to happen. When she gets that weapon, like when she got that weapon, I was like, has it been you all along? Has it been you all along? And you just hate these yuppies. You hate these rich people and you want revenge. Because Alice calls her out and says, your family was upper middle class. Now, again, this lets you know that this is a satire. This is not the time to discuss where your family falls on the class hierarchy. Okay. This is not the time, but let's talk about it. Look, we live in a capitalist society, and as far as I'm aware, nobody in this group is Maoist, Marxist, communist, socialist. Okay. They're all participating. And if you consider yourself to be, even if you're a reluctant participant of capitalist society and you want to engage in classism, you want to rise up, okay? Being upper middle class is not a bad thing. It's not bad. So the fact that first of all, she's so aware of it, right? Alice says, your parents were professors, right? And I was expecting her to say maybe at a community college. Okay, professor at a community college, I don't know, maybe like that's, you know, lower on the class scale. But she said, no, it's a public school. Okay, no. I was like, girl, you're upper middle. You are. Don't tell me. If her parents are at UCLA, girl, bye. Entirely bye. But she's very aware of the characteristics of each class, and she is hanging out with these super rich people, right? So was it he's the richest, she's super rich, then they're like regular rich, and then she's upper middle class. So in this friend group, she is the lowest on the class totem pole. And here's what I've experienced, what I've seen with my own eyes. So I went to a very elitist, classist PWI. That is a predominantly white institution. So when I say it's a classist PWI, it's very waspy. It's very white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. All of these terms together lets you know it's some rich white people. I mean, just plain and simple. Like, how else do you say it? It's like the people who on all the social hierarchies that we're aware of, like in normal everyday life, they are at the top. Okay. So these people are very rich, and they're varying degrees of rich. Like, some of them are ultra rich. Some of them are regular rich, like whatever that means. I'm not going to give a dollar amount of what that means. I just hope y'all know. In the very least, you need to understand upper middle class includes people who make $300,000 a year. And that is a lot of money to be making in this world, like just period, in this world, like not even just in the US, like not even, oh, well, in California, you need at least 300,000. Okay. That's a lot of money, period. Okay. That counts as upper middle class. I think it could even, like if it's a 2-parent income, it could potentially be $500,000. Is $500,000? I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Well, all I'm saying is it's high 6 figures. If you're upper middle class, you're making high 6 figures. I shouldn't say high, because 800,000 is beyond upper middle class. So I will say you're making low to mid 6 figures. Okay. Anyway. So I went to a school like this. And so I was spending some time with these frat guys. Why? I don't know. I don't know how. I am not I am not the kind of person that these frat guys typically spend time with. But I was spending time with them, just observing them. And this guy was just complaining. He was complaining to me and anyone who would listen that, he just feels like the frats are so unfair. They're so elitist. They're so classist. He was like, this guy was like making fun of me because my dad doesn't have a Bugatti. And like, we're saying this as we're entering his Corvette. Like, it's like it was a red Corvette. Like, the thing comes down. I don't know much about cars. All I know is that it looked like a rich person type of car. And he's complaining about how the dudes make fun of him for not being rich enough. And I'm like, you seem pretty rich. You have the whole look. Like, you have that polo shirt. Like, that shirt, I know that shirt costs like $100. Like, the shirt that you're wearing to go binge drinking is $100 shirt. And my outfit together doesn't even cost $100. Like, I didn't even spend $100 on my nails. Like, what are you saying? And that's what she gives me. She wants to fit in with this crowd of people. It's like giving very much like Great Gatsby kind of. Like, I did not properly read the book in school, and I haven't watched the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, but the gist I get is that the Great Gatsby is some dude who like wants to be ultra mega rich, and he's just regular rich, and he's like insecure about it. But that's what I'm getting. And she's really just pretending to be friends with these people so she can be in that class, in that circle. I give you a D. Like, you really suck. And you have the potential. Okay, here's the other thing about her. Like, and then you have an issue. Like, you are pointing that thing at your friends. Like, you are, like, it's very, like, obsession. Like, what's that movie? Obsessed. With Beyonce. That lady was like so obsessed with Beyonce's husband, who was Idris Elba, of course. It's there's something wrong with you. Like, more than the other ones. Because, okay, but here's the other thing. I think what the movie is trying to say is like, what we see wrong with these characters, it's not inherent in them. It is fueled by the fact that our social lives have extended to this. Nothing else has done this way, right? Like, our social, like, when they created the postal service, you used letters as a means of communication to develop your relationships with people, but the relationship was still real life. When they invented email, same thing. With telephones, same thing. Like, these devices were meant to enrich relationship in true life, in reality. But what we have now is something that not only do we use it to enrich our real life relationships, we create the relationships here. The relationships are partially created here, and we have parasocial relationships. She met the dude off Tinder. We have relationships with people we've never even seen or met before. And we learn, like, we can develop whole personalities from what we're consuming here. I don't know, were people like this when they only had to watch movies or TV shows? It's different now because not only can you consume media, you can be a part of the media. And for me, like, when I was growing up and I started to see the internet and real life kind of merge in this really weird way, like, the first time I saw it merging, I'm like, you're not supposed to touch. You're not supposed to be a Venn diagram. You're supposed to be completely separate. Was like, I was watching some news report and they were talking about a meme. Like, they were talking about doggo memes or something. And I'm like, excuse me? Why are we talking about this in real life? This is something that we only talk about on the forums. it was very weird to me. And this is a generation where it's not weird. That is their life. And this is obviously a caricature, like going over the top, but what they would type on Twitter and their actual personality in real life are merging. Right. And there's so much commentary to make in this movie. Like, I haven't even touched the surface of all the commentary that could be made in this movie. Like how Alice, is just using words, saying I'm an ally, and yet centering herself, saying how she has body dysmorphia when Bree is talking about her mom has bipolar. Like there's so much we can talk about, and I'm sure there's even something that I didn't even see. But okay, let's talk about these two. Right. So that very first scene, they're making out, and I'm thinking to myself, why is there so much focus? Like, why are we still watching them make out? Now I know we're watching them make out because that is what was most important to them, right? Like, what you expect to see when you're watching a scene of people who love each other be intimate, it's not zoomed in that long, right? The part that takes the most time is them frolicking and, basking in the ooze of the aftermath and just, oh, what are you thinking? Yeah, I love you. Like, that is where we spend most of the time. But they only spent like 5 seconds on the I love you. And it was Sophie who was telling Bree, I love you. Bree doesn't respond. I'm like, good girl. Good girl. Because I'm not getting I love you vibe. Just by the cinematography, I'm not getting love vibes. I'm getting you're hot. Let's make out. And like, I'm confusing making out with love vibes. I'm confusing being horned up for you with being in love. That's what it's giving me. And I'm like, good girl. Does that sound patronizing? I don't know. I'm like, good. So, right. Sophie says that. Immediately cut to them in the car, both on their phone. I'm like, wow. So, kind of true to life, but also it clues you in on how much did how much did that I love you mean? What did it really mean? Because immediately we're both on the phone like this. Like it's supposed to make you question. It's supposed to make you question. Where is our mind really at? So we know that Sophie doesn't know what I love you means. Like, throughout the film, we are talking about and being reminded that these kids in this generation know words. They know words. They went to college. Like, they're smart. They know the words, but they don't know what the words actually mean. The words don't really mean anything. The words do not mean anything. There's so many, even when David is confronting Greg, what does that mean to you? What does the best defense is offense? What does that mean to you? That's just another great way to add, again, with that theme. What do these words really mean? Do we really know what these words mean? What does it mean in your brain? What did that mean to you to say I love you? And we know that she doesn't truly mean it, because why would you say I love you, but you're sleeping with this person, right? You're sleeping with this person. Also, when these two ganged up on your girlfriend and kicked her out of the house, you did not defend her whatsoever. Bree defended all of y'all by smashing his head. But when it was time for Bree to get some defense, you, the girlfriend, the person who loves her, did not defend her at all. At all. And even if she did lie to you, you wouldn't hear her out. And you were harboring the secret that you committed infidelity. Right? Like, you are as low as the rest of them. You are just like them, it is like, when I watch a movie, I'm always wondering, should I be cheering for this main character? I think these days, it's more like not predictable. Like it's not predictable if the main character is good or bad. It's not just a straight up given. And she's not a character to root for. So we learned that she doesn't really mean things. And this Bree chick, had a good sense. Even though Bree is not like this perfect little, I'm not on social media at all. She's not this little angel of the movie. She is also affected by the social media lifestyle the same way they are. She's just not as she's not as fake about it, or I don't know what to say. But she sensed that, and I'm glad that she sensed that in Sophie. So when they're hiding and Sophie reaches out to touch her, she's scared. She doesn't know, I can't trust you. I don't, because by the way, she found the underwear. She found this person, I believe it's this person's underwear, or maybe it was Sophie's underwear, but in this person's room, I don't know. She saw underwear, so she knows what's going on. She doesn't trust her, and she's wondering, maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. I don't trust you. Or are you trying to touch me to strangle me or what? So I give Sophie, and also the only why did she lie? She lied that she responded in the group text. Why didn't she? I don't know why she didn't. It would have been a better way to hide your true intentions, but she really just came there to, I guess, have some fun and hopefully get her money back. I'm going to give her a D. Get her money from her trust fund. So it was interesting watching all of them kind of go back and forth. You're not a good friend because this is what you did to me. Oh, yeah? Well, you're not a good friend because this is what you did to me. It was interesting watching them go back and forth about how, the little transgressions that they've committed against each other. And it seems like, okay, actually, all of you are just too self-absorbed. Because when you're on Twitter, you are self-absorbed. Okay, so I used to have this podcast with this one chick, and she's the perfect example of these characters. Always commentating on other people's lives, the spectacle of it, which, hey, we're human. That's what we do. But on Twitter, the only person's opinion that really matters is your own. You don't need to have true empathy. You don't need to have real empathy. You don't have to really sit there and chew on it. You don't need to think about anybody else except what you have to say. And that's how all of these people behave. All of these people behave like you're not friends. You're behaving like this is just a fight on Twitter. So as it comes to Bree is a more level-headed person. She was very quiet. She's the fish out of water, So she is, I assume she was going to be the final girl, which would have been such a trope. It would have been falling into a trope. And I think this film was trying to avoid certain tropes. But she's not exempt. Nobody in this film is exempt because everybody has a smartphone. I have family who live in poverty. They don't have a real bed. Okay. They don't have an actual mattress. And they post on Facebook. Okay. Everybody has a smartphone. Okay. So the next time somebody wants to argue with you about what about the starving kids in Africa? Yeah, they have smartphones too. Okay. Almost everybody has a smartphone. And if they don't have a smartphone, then they might be in some kind of place that is, I don't know the word, restricting they're intentionally trying to block people from having it. But smartphones make the world go round at this point. Even if it's a flip phone, the flip phones are now smartphones too. The flip phones do similar stuff that the smartphones do. So it's like the flip phones get on Facebook. So even those, they count. So no one's exempt, and you're not evil. You're not a bad person if you relate to any aspect of these characters, because we all do this. She just seems a little bit more level-headed. She seems like the person who is not on Twitter, but she's still influent. Like, she's like, their language, the way the things that they're prioritizing, she also is influenced by that because she's part of this generation. I found it interesting that I found this line funny when she's like explaining her lies to Sophie. Now I realize that's why she put on her makeup. She put on makeup, and I think she put on perfume, and she was just trying to fit in. Like, her priorities were still kind of off. Like, there's an active on the live or on the loose. Like, it doesn't really matter if you fit in with these people right now. She's still affected by it. So, and she had been doing it from day one with Sophie, wanting to fit in, right? Like, yeah, if you're super rich, I would be embarrassed for you to date me, and you know that I'm like unemployed. Whatever. We understand. So there's a line where Bree says, "My mom, she's borderline," which, if you don't know what that means, she's referring to borderline personality disorder. And Alice is like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Like her reaction is as if she said, "My mom has cancer." And I was expecting, that's what's funny, the way she delivered the line, I was expecting her to say something like, "Yeah, my mom was just diagnosed with cancer," like something that is like more immediately life-threatening. But she said it's a personality disorder, and her reaction is the same. And it's funny because it's like chill, chill. It's like an overreaction, but also at the same time, if you know borderline personality disorder, you get that reaction. You get it, because it is tough. It is tough to have a loved one with untreated borderline. It's tough. I don't know, like, and people want it to be destigmatized, and I totally understand why it should be destigmatized, but like, it means something. It means something to people when you say that. So, and that's one thing I find interesting about this generation, that I'm very intrigued to see how it pans out in the future, is we talk about mental health so freely. We bring it up in everyday casual conversation. Like, we bring it up. It's unheard of how much we talk about mental health. It is unheard of. It has never been this way ever in human history, ever. And I find that so interesting. I don't know what to make of it. I think it's a good thing, but it's also interesting. So, I feel so bad. I have so many people in the D tier. I feel bad. I do feel bad. So she says my mom has borderline, which I found that interesting for her to bring up. Like, this generation is also always thinking about mental health. Like, when we're trying to figure out why is someone behaving that way, why did they do that? Mental health is now one of the options that we consider. And so she says that as the explanation. But like, come on, in real life, that's not necessary. I need to rewatch the movie and chew in it more, because I don't know if she's saying that as part of the confessing the things she's embarrassed of. And she's embarrassed that her mom has borderline, which that explains why you hear constant ding, 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 ding. Because that's when someone you love is borderline and they're having an episode, that's your phone. That's your phone. That's your phone. And like, it's going to be not nice things. Okay, so I feel, I feel bad for her knowing that. Like, it's going to be probably mean things or scary things being done to you. So like that's another reason why she doesn't fully believe her when she says I love you, because it's like, you don't know me. You actually don't know me at all. So what? So I'm going to give her A tier. She's just the most sensible character. She's persistent, and she continues to protect her girlfriend even when the girlfriend betrayed her, like by allowing her to be kicked out in the cold. So this is my list. This is my list of the characters, and literally, y'all, these are all the characters, okay? I also have a thing for films that only have a few characters. Like, no, there's no extras. There are no other human beings in the film. I don't know what it is. It makes me feel like we're alone on an island and we're watching this experiment take place. Okay. I love that kind of stuff. Like that movie 12 Angry Men. I'm so into that. I like those kind of movies. Those movies where it's just these people. So I probably missed a lot of stuff. There's so many things to pinpoint in this movie. I don't even know where to start or begin or end. But this is my list. Let me know if you agree with the list in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out with me for an hour and a half. Maybe I should have done this as a live stream. I don't know, but you're here now. If you enjoyed having fun with me, chewing on this, thinking on this, let me know in the comments below. If there's any other theories that I need to know, let me know. And I'll do another video breaking it more down if there's an audience for it, if people want to see it. Definitely when it comes back streaming, when it's on streaming, when it's on Prime, Amazon Prime, I'm going to be rewatching, and maybe join me as we rewatch it. I might, ooh, if anybody, I don't know how many people watch this, okay? I'm expecting like 10 people to watch this, but if there's enough of us, wouldn't it be fun to do like a watch party? Wouldn't that be fun? Just let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Kimmy says bye. I say bye. Bye.